my god, it's been so long. Where have you been? 2021 sucked. I was suffering. What else was I supposed to do? So I took the year off, and now I'm back. Maybe.
If there was any notable and significant bright spot of the year, overall, movies are pretty good. Definitely an improvement over 2020 from the sheer fact that movies actually came out this year. So in a way to get back into the swing of things, I'm going to do something pretty simple. As with any year, I watch and rank all movies I see that is technically a release in that year. So I thought it would be fun to recommend my favorites of 2021, and making fun of just the worst damn movies.
Let's get started with the worst movies of the year. One of the videos that I've had in the back of my head that I really want to do is updating my video game movie video, because it doesn't seem like those are slowing down anytime soon. And when I make that, I'm gonna have to talk about this again, and spoiler, it's gonna be very low on the ranking.
The Resident Evil movies have always been bad, but at least they were wild. Welcome to Raccoon City, a reboot of the series, is just cheap and bland. This film is hard to talk about because it's hard to talk about nothing.
I didn't mind the movie while I was watching it, but once it was done, I asked myself, what did I like about that?
It is not scary.
Fuck.
It is not well written.
My boy. Shut the fuck up.
It has no memorable action. It has no fun characters. It doesn't even really have a tone. Is it more true to the games than the first run of movies? Yeah, but that is very surface level. Like, the characters dress like the games, and there are settings ripped directly from the games, but nothing is like the games. Also, I don't care. This should stand on its own, but as said, it is nothing. So no, it doesn't. I can get more into the game disconnect and the possible video game movie ranking amendments, but I feel like I can move on.
You ugly fuck!
Speaking of a movie I didn't like anything about, have y'all seen Chaos Walking?
This had an extremely rocky road to release because it got delayed like 6 times because of things like the pandemic and reshoots because test screenings for the initial cut were so poor. I can't imagine how much worse this original cut was because damn, this blows. This truly feels like it's for no one except for Tom Holland and Daisy Ridley simps, but just like look at pictures of them. Trust me, you will have a better time. Truly, the main problem of the movie is the concept it presents, then proceeds to do absolutely nothing with. It is about a group of human male colonists who are trapped on this planet where all their thoughts can be broadcast as images or words called noise.
I'm watching noise.
Snake.
Cocky little son of a
Snake.
But it only comes up when the plot needs it to. There is no interesting exploration of this concept, and is more there to be a writing shorthand to move the plot along or cause extremely weak tension.
Killed my mom. Todd, stop. Shut up.
Be quiet. I'm trying.
Stop, Todd Hewitt. I'm Todd Hewitt.
This could easily be removed, along with the other idea that there is like a native alien species, this world called no shit, the Spackle.
Knife. Something's coming. Spackle. Be a man.
Who are constantly referenced and are just built up over and over. They will probably factor into the conflict and show up in the climax. Nope, Tom Holland fights one that you barely see, but you can tell it is like the worst alien design ever. And it is there to pretend he has some sort of character arc of overcoming his masculinity. Then you never see an alien ever again, which makes you wonder, why are they even there in the first place?
There's really nothing else to talk about because the rest of the movie is just a very basic plot structure with very few surprises. Truly a completely worthless film. Next. Alright, now we are really in the shit. These next 3 are borderline unwatchable. But quick context for this next one. I'm not on TikTok.
Love you. Bye.
It is very clear why He's All That was made. There is some nostalgic feeling towards the original, so you got brand recognition, gender swap it, and you can work out some of the more problematic kinks.
Well, if I didn't know any better, and you weren't my brother, I'd say you looked pretty hot. Right, Padgett?
Plus the acting debut of TikTok star Addison Rae.
TikTok is a children's dancing app where children will upload videos of themselves dancing that children and adults can enjoy.
Now, is the original good? No, not really, but it is really dated in a fun way. Maybe this remake will age similarly, and we will all be able to laugh at the fact movies like this got made, but right now it sucks. This movie is just a vanity project through and through.
I just gotta say, even though you're incredibly hot, you're not the complete monster that I thought you'd be.
Thanks.
Very effective exposure for all the talent involved. Let's get the big one out of the way. Addison Rae is terrible in this.
Cow tipping.
Or Glee Club.
Yeah.
I get it.
Everyone is bad in this, but she is the whole reason this got made, so may as well focus on her right now. Her performance is very one note, causing all of her delivery to feel very strained and odd. She is trying so hard that it just makes her feel unnatural.
Hola.
Hi.
Good times.
The whole movie has this vibe because it just wants to be liked so badly. The problem is that the whole thing just ranges from cringy to lame. A big reason for this is that all the jokes are just so obvious.
I just wanted to say thank you for this morning. My butt is so sore. I could barely walk. Things got messy.
Context, please?
I gave her a writing lesson.
I bet you did.
Horse riding.
Part of one, anyway.
Nothing about it is funny, but it constantly insists that it is. Along with terribly on-the-nose jokes, it is filled with extremely on-the-nose dialogue.
I mean, you work so hard to keep us in this school district.
Yes, this amazing school district full of snotty, entitled trust funders.
Hey, some of my best friends are entitled trust funders.
Exactly, and then you feel this tremendous pressure to keep up.
I mean, I don't expect subtlety, but Disney Channel movies have more nuance than this. Everything is just laid out bare, with no sort of layers whatsoever. It just shows a lack of effort, along with some bewildering staging and editing. She isn't handing out flyers. Did they run out? Just make more.
Unbelievable. Wow, look at you.
The thing that always annoys me about these modern high school movies is that they try to tout these big, grand, be yourself against the pressure of high school to be faked message. But the whole movie has done nothing but use the outcasts as punchlines just as much as the popular clique.
This is easily the worst movie on this list, because the next two stretch that definition pretty thin. But even if they were more well put together, they would still be worse. Look, some might see this as too easy of a target and unfair to include it in an official ranking, but the title does insist it is a feature film, so I will treat it as such. So, some of you might know Darman as a hugely successful entrepreneur who heads an extremely successful YouTube channel of inspirational videos.
What's so funny?
Darman? What are you doing here?
He also stole money, but let's not talk about that. And this year in November, he ventured into new territory with an hour-long video he labeled as the first Darman feature film. Now, if you're not familiar with Darman's content, here is a quick primer. They range from at least 8 minutes to sometimes 30. Each features a really on-the-nose message with pretty black and white morality. You're either the bad guy who thinks they can get away with something, but then at the end you get your just desserts for being a bad person. They either learn a lesson from this,
but then I realized I'd rather spend the entire weekend with you for Father's Day.
or continue to suffer. Or you're just a good person who is being pressured by bad people who need to overcome them, then be rewarded for your good ethics. They are videos meant for kids to buy merch or for moms on Facebook to share because they like the very spelled out message. So what makes Girl Finds Out She's Adopted a movie compared to his regular content? It is shot anamorphic, there's actual proper color grading and lighting, some shots could pass for an indie film, he paid to have it screened in a theater to people who are on his payroll.
We're not just telling stories, we're changing lives!
Other than that, this is exactly the same structure that he uses for all of his videos, except every scene is stretched out for so long it becomes tedious.
Imagine an 18-minute video stretched to an hour. It is just so annoying how long everything takes to move. I don't want to harp on the acting, so I will just say the primary cast in this are the top tier members of his revolving troupe of performers. So no hate to this girl, because this definitely was a writing and directing issue, but she is like crying for 60 to 70% of her screen time, and it is just so much. Worst of all, I don't even think the message is very good. So this girl finds out she's adopted,
That's the name of the movie!
then becomes obsessed with finding her birth parents. As the movie goes on, you find out her dad is a jailed criminal who wants nothing to do with her, and her mom is a drug addict who takes advantage of her for her own gain. She only learns to be grateful for her upbringing after she is presented with the alternative, which is not being taken care of at all. My issue really stems to how much this demonizes addicts to a cartoonish degree, bookended by these really out-of-place comedically toned post-credit scenes. Look, like I said, if you're going to say it is a film, I'm going to treat it as one, even if you call it a video on its premiere night.
You going to watch a video?
Yeah!
I love watching Darman in my free time, so when he makes more, I will always be one of the millions of views.
It is still bad, though.
Before we get to the biggest stinker of the year, I want to make something clear. I try to respect other people's views and beliefs. The only time I don't respect someone's views is when they are outwardly very harmful to other people. One of the most harmful views that I have seen personally is when people believe that even though they are clearly in the majority, they want to think that their values are being threatened and they need to fight some battle to keep them standing. Quick warning, I gotta talk about the coronavirus, because for some reason, that is still a hot issue, especially for the people that made this movie.
Instead of acknowledging it as, a horrible virus that has taken away too many lives over the last 2 years, but as an excuse. An excuse used by the world's government to somehow convert all into a global state for political elites to secure their power. This movie thinks governments banning things like travel and big gatherings are not to slow the spread and development of COVID, but to create a slippery slope effect so they can ban things like freedom, and most importantly, according to this film, Christianity.
Another warning, religion. I'm not really going to be trying to make fun of Christianity here, but I will be making fun of the Christians that made this movie. So if you have a problem with that, skip to here. Or just leave. I don't give a shit.
Let me read the official IMDb description. A group of Christians are trying to overthrow the world government by spray painting the ichthys on fallen leaves. They meet a Bitcoin miner who helps them mail out DVDs of sermons. They are then caught and executed. Nah, that's pretty much it. This movie is made and stars a man who looks like a German youth pastor. This movie takes place in Germany, by the way. The plot has to do with a small group of young Christians who still practice religion against their oppressive government. In the film, they decide to take a stand by walking around forests and spray painting fish to rally other Christians. It is kind of unclear. This movie is extremely cheap. A lot of the movie is just static shots of people talking that go on forever as they talk about shit that doesn't matter. I really don't want this to come across as mean, but the majority of this movie is in English for some reason, but no one can speak it very well.
Are you a traitor? Did you sell us out? I didn't sell you out.
We're German. Just speak German. Everyone is just so obviously struggling to remember their lines.
So, but, man, why are you here?
I want to warn you guys, it's not about you personally. I mean, I like you. But the world has changed significantly.
Other than talking, this movie is like 30% music montages of just boring shots, including this one where a guy raps over Amazing Grace.
How sweet, the sound. I know a couple of people who...
The movie wants to be this dystopian nightmare, and how those who keep their faith can rise above, but the movie does not have the resources to communicate the scale. The movie either takes place in small rooms, empty forests, empty fields, or empty parks. This film is just so sloppily put together that if I believed any of this, I would be embarrassed to have this film represent that. The poor quality can be funny, but the problem is that the movie is just so up its own ass that it is annoying. This movie is just made by conspiratory nutjobs who want attention, and that is why it easily takes the prize for Worst Movie of 2021.
Huh, time to do something rare. Talking about good movies.
There are so many gorgeous men there. We're talking Tommy Bahama from head to toe.
Tommy Bahama.
Starting with number 5, this movie came out very early in the year, and I feel like a lot of people have stopped talking about it, so I just wanted to remind people that it's still great.
This movie is the feature directorial debut from Shaka King, and it is impressive. The movie is extremely well put together in all aspects. Everything about it feels like a veteran professional had made it due to its technical quality. Part of what makes this movie interesting is that it focuses on an important figure to the Black Panthers, Fred Hampton, who I did not know anything about before this, sadly. The film portrays Fred with great care and accuracy, as his son was present on set almost every day to make sure the memory of his father was preserved. On top of being a biopic, the film excels at being a tense crime thriller due to its unique angle, taking the perspective of a man who infiltrated the Black Panthers and had a hand in Fred's assassination. This relationship drives the film as they grow and bond despite the inevitable conclusion of Fred's death. This helped due to Lakeith Stanfield's strong lead performance, and Daniel Kaluuya's excellent supporting turn. This movie feels important, and I hope it stands the test of time to be accepted as one of the must-sees of Black cinema. Or just cinema in general.
Oh, the air feels different here. God, you're right. It smells like Red Lobster.
I was hesitant going into this one, but once it started, I was pretty enthralled by it.
Director Jane Campion's most well-known release is The Piano, which Power the Dog shares many similar qualities. This film has outstanding music and cinematography, which is enough to give it a recommendation. What really pulled me in, however, was how dynamic all the characters were, and to watch their relationships develop with each other, as it leads to a pretty stunning conclusion. I will say something that holds this movie back from being higher is that it can be a little on the nose visually with its themes. There are a lot of interesting themes, it's just sometimes they are expressed with a heavy hand, but this is easy to look past. There's something so beautifully delicate about this movie that really pulls me in. It is great, and I'm going to make a strong stance. This deserves the Oscar for production design due to this single door with a missing glass panel. I am in love with this thing, as it allows for very rich shots without feeling forced. This is such a dumb thing to put in here, but I'm taken with this door, damn it, and I'm going to be honest about it.
It's a little sharp, though.
Oh, they are sharp. They're a little sharp.
Cutting my skin a little bit.
We'll break it in. It'll wear down over time.
Before we get into this, quick disclaimer. I was destined to eat this up.
I am a Paul Thomas Anderson horror through and through. I think he's maybe the best working director alive right now, and this was just delightful. This may be his most accessible movie because it's really fun. Script and performers are all just breezy, light, and fun. This really is just a good vibes movie, and if you can flow with it, it rules. While there isn't a traditional plot, the main characters have arcs that have natural progression and closure. While it is lighter than most PTA movies, it still features many of the impressive techniques he is known for with his staging. I would like to acknowledge that the main criticisms I have seen of this have been this kind of racist gag that pops up twice, and the fact it is an underage romance with a 15-year-old and a 25-year-old woman.
Both these points are valid, but for me personally, didn't really affect my opinion.
The Asian jokes were lazy, but the rest of the movie hits humor-wise, so I found it easy to ignore.
As for the age gap, yeah, it's weird.
I read a review that would have liked at least one character to express their relationship as weird, but it is what it is. If that is something you can't look past, fine. But this movie is just filled to the brim with good feelings, so I would still recommend it.
What the fuck?
Bless you.
Thank you.
If you haven't figured it out yet, I'm a giant dork that loves world building, which is why this is so high on the list.
I read the book in preparation for this movie, so I was ready to be brought visually into this world by one of my favorite directors, Denis Villeneuve. He started his career by making dark and serious movies set in reality before hard pivoting into nerdy sci-fi with Arrival, which I deeply respect. Dune is not particularly emotionally involving or easy to watch, but I view it more as a peek into another world, not necessarily something with an intricately told story with arcs or even something that is action-packed. is very dry, and not just because it is set in the desert. I just find this universe so fascinating, from its tech to its politics to its religion. If you can't jive with it, I get it.
This movie is for nerds, and I am a huge nerd, so this is perfect for me.
The film has breathtaking cinematography, and everyone is perfectly cast in their parts. From a technical level, everything is immaculate, especially the sound design. I do feel it is important to note that this movie is part 1, is understandably annoying to people who didn't know that. It even has an extremely laughable last line.
This is only the beginning.
I, however, am completely on board. I hope the second one grabs me just as much, because I absolutely would love to watch both parts back to back so I can get the whole experience of the novel.
Dune rules, but it is still not my favorite.
Whoa, hey, ah!
Okay, so what's number 1? What is the movie that I think stands above all the rest in presentation and quality? And that movie is...
Yeah, that's right. Run inside your house and cry to your mommy.
Pom-poms and Payback. Sadly regulated to a TV release, the film tells the story of 3 cheerleaders who aren't very good, but the movie pretends they are during its multiple dance scenes. They are the daughters of previous cheerleaders who bullied a classmate of theirs to suicide. Now that classmate's younger sister is their coach, who enacts their extremely complicated scheme to ruin their lives. The movie is tense, with many twists and turns. The girls investigate, and the evil coach's plan slowly unravels. The movie ends with one of the greatest action scenes ever put to film.
Nice form.
Truly a movie that will be forever. Okay, enough of this. My number 1 is Green Knight.
I'm not ready.
Green Knight is an interpretation of an Arthurian legend about King Arthur's nephew and his quest to confront the mysterious Green Knight. This is the only movie of the year that really engaged my brain in a unique way. There's so much to read and interpret from this movie, and all of its layers feel earned. It was the only movie this past year where I went out of my way to research it in interest of understanding and engaging with it more. The film looks incredible by combining many practical techniques with modern technology of today. I'm not gonna lie and say this movie will appeal to everyone. It has a very vignette-like structure, coupled with an extremely challenging ending. Characters speak very cryptically, and things sometimes just happen with no build-up. The movie does not offer easy answers, but I found it to be an extremely touching experience watching a man wrestle with his reality versus what he wants to be. I love movies where I notice and appreciate new things every time I watch it, and Green Knight is the only movie from this year that gets better every time I see it. So that's it. 2021 gave me a lot of content I would like to talk about. Hopefully those are out soon, but we'll see. I got stuff to do and I'm not making money off of this. Thank you for those who have subscribed, and if you aren't and you like this video, consider subscribing for more film-related videos. I'm not sure what the theme of this channel is yet.
Like, comment, and subscribe, and I hope to be back soon. Thanks for watching.